Welcome to the D&D Fitness Radio podcast, brought to you by your hosts, Don Saladino from New York City and Derek Hansen from Vancouver, Canada.
It's good to be connected with you. And this is my buddy, Derek Hansen, who's he's been my podcast counterpart for about 2 years now. We're really grateful to have you on. So thanks for your time.
Appreciate it, definitely.
My brother. And then listen, just so I'm clear, your first name's Frank, or am I not allowed to say that?
No, it's Frank.
Everyone just calls you Bounty Tank. It's like, you remind me of The Rock. Like, for a while, no one knew it was Dwayne Johnson. It's like this famous name here. And it's like suddenly, I'm like, yeah, no, I think his name's Frank when I met him. But all good, man. So how you doing, man? How you been dealing?
I can't complain, man. I can't complain. Just living life, man. Just living life and, try to have some fun with it.
Attaboy. So Derek, me and Zach Ziegler interviewed Frank probably about, I want to say it was a few years ago now, maybe 3 years ago. And I was blown away because you're definitely one of the most interesting people I've sat down with, because your profession is so unique. On the other hand, fitness is such a huge component to what you do. One, because you love it, but two, because you need it. Like, it's part of your survival, man. Right. So I wanted to introduce you to Derek, and I just wanted to see if you could fill our listeners in on who you are and what exactly it is you do, because it sounds way more interesting coming out of your mouth.
Yeah. What's going on, Derek?
How you doing, Frank? Nice to meet you. Interested to hear all your stories. And I
got to make sure that you ain't on the run for me first. So let me check.
Well, that's what I always say, that I coach the best form of self-defense, which is running and sprinting. So yeah.
No, so basically what I do is I'm a bail bondsman first. When people go to jail, they can't necessarily pay the fee that the court requires. So what they do is they call me, I front them the money for a percentage. I finance it. So I'll give you an example. Say someone gets in trouble, they have a $10,000, 10% bond. They could go through the court, pay them $1,000. In today's economic situations, especially where I'm at, people can't afford to pay that $1,000. So they call me, I'll put up to $10,000 for them. They can put down, say, half of the 10%, which is $500, and then they can make payments on it. Now, the flip side is that if they don't go to court, I'm guaranteeing the court that they're going to appear. If they miss their court date, the court's going to send me a letter, say, hey, Frank, you got 45 days to find him, or we're going to take that money that you put up. That's when you get the bounty hunting. So if I don't find him, lose money. So
it seems like a high risk position, considering the level of individual that you're probably working with. And listen, granted, every once in a while you're probably working with someone that maybe is just bad timing or been in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they actually do what they say that they're going to do. But all in all, do you find, like, is it a lot of babysitting, or do you feel like people are just scared shitless and they're just trying to get back to you as quick as possible?
Man, I'm gonna say it's 50-50. Unfortunately, I deal with a lot of people, a lot of addicts that are on drugs, and they're more afraid of going dope sick and going through withdrawals than me. So I find a lot of times they run from that. Especially during the holiday season, it gets crazy because no one wants to go to jail during the holiday season. So it's 50-50, I'd say. But for the majority, people know if they run from me, I'm coming. So they put their tail down and they're running.
Derek?
Frank, how much of the time are you actually physically chasing people? Or is it a little more like you walk in and you know where the exits are and you've got a strategy? Are you actually running after people and tackling them?
Not often. I try not to have to be. It's more strategic. We kind of know where they're at, sitting in the house. So we try to avoid having to chase people, but sometimes you can't avoid it. They might jump out the window, or they might catch you coming, and then it turns into a foot race. So you got to be ready for that.
Well, listen. So now I'm going to pivot into more into your fitness, because you're in incredible shape. I mean, obviously, incredibly strong. What's your typical regimen like, and how has it evolved in accordance to, you know, you get on foot and you start realizing, all right, man, maybe I need a little bit more of this. Maybe I need a little bit more endurance. But what do you do, and how do you find it's evolving as we're all aging? You know, I know you're a young guy, but we are all aging.
Yeah, man. And I tell you, the stuff I used to do when I was younger, I don't do as much. The crazy heavy weight, but I do lift. I still lift heavy. I do kind of like power bodybuilding, kind of like Mike Hearn does.
Yeah.
I do a little bit of the heavy, then I do a lot of the high reps. As I'm getting older, I've been my workout regimen's been I've implemented a lot more cardio. Just because I'm getting older and they're getting younger. So I do a lot of boxing. I do a lot of kind of like football training, ladders and sprints and pushing sleds. I do a lot of that type of work. So I'm probably doing cardio between 3 and 4 times a week. I'm in the weight room probably around the same 3 or 4 times a week. I try to get my cardio done in the afternoon, weight lift in the morning. So it's been steering more towards the cardio aspect, man, because when you tussling with somebody you're running, that, you know, you don't have that second breath, that air, that can be your life. So I've been focusing a lot more on cardio.
Well, yeah, and law enforcement in general, you would say that it's not a very healthy profession. There's a lot of people that will, you know, have problems, like you said, cardiac problems, you know, pretty early, like in their 40s and 50s. Is that something that's in the back of your head in terms of like, I have to be generally fit, I have to make sure my heart health is good? You know, obviously it's stressful. Are those things that you think about?
Yeah, I think about that as age comes. You know, you got to make sure that you're on the up and up. So yeah, I definitely think about that. Like, hey, I'm getting older. You know, stuff starts breaking down as you get older. So I want to make sure my heart, as long as the heart's going, I'm going. So I want to make sure that's the strongest part. You know, that's strong and good and that's healthy.
So how often do you think you're on a foot race? I mean, on average, I mean, you're bailing people out. How many days a week do you think? Is it an everyday thing? Is it several days a week?
No, it's not an everyday thing. I probably this year I probably foot chase maybe 3 people. Like I said, we try to close them in so we don't have to chase at them, because like I said, I'm dealing with a lot of addicts. And I don't know if you know anything about, you know, people that are addicts, especially on meth and those type of upper drugs. They are like superheroes. You know, they don't stop running. They're super strong. So we try to close them in, because if they get on foot, we might not catch them.
That's crazy. Did you have any stories that you're able to share with us? Like, obviously not mentioning names, but are there some standout
I'm gonna tell you a story. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you a story. So we were about to arrest this guy at a gas station, and he seen us, so he had a bunch of drugs on him. So he took all of them. It was like meth, heroin. It was a whole bunch of different drugs. Like I said, when people take drugs, they don't feel, they become strong, and they turn into probably some of the best athletes you'll ever see in the world. Anyway, long story short, the cops couldn't handle him when he was too strong. Now, granted, this guy is handcuffed, but he was so strong, the cops asked us for help. We were all ganging up on this guy, trying to get him into the car, and we could not get this guy in the car. He was so strong. So I wound up tasing him. This is a true story. I tased this guy. He looked me in my eyes. He didn't flinch. He looked me in my eyes and said, "Why did you tase me, bro?" Scared the shit out of me. I've never seen it before. Looked me in my eyes and said, "Why did you tase me?" I said, "All right, this guy is different." Now, this is not it. Later on, probably about 15 minutes later, they bring the canine. The canine dog bites him. You know what happens?
No.
He bites the dog back.
Oh my God. Oh, poor dog.
I could not make this stuff up. So him and this dog had some type of prior relationship, because a week before that, I think it was personal, he outran the dog. Literally, a canine dog. He outran the dog, jumped over a fence. So I think it was personal between him and the dog.
How'd you guys get this guy down? Did you just exhaust him? Or,
I mean, it was to the point where it was so many people that he just tired out, you know. It was a crazy situation, man. I'm gonna be honest. It was after that day, I realized I'll never hunt by myself, because if I would have been by myself with this guy, I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't have took him. He was just too strong and he didn't feel. You get tased and you can look somebody in the eye, "Why are you getting tased?" and say, "Why are you tasing me?"
Which is shocking too, because if anyone's met you, which I have, I mean, you're a freaking unit, bro. I mean, how tall and how much do you weigh?
I'm 6'2", and I'm probably about 260, about 260 now.
About 260 now. So what was this guy's size, or was he just because of the drugs, or he was just a freaking how
Man,
big
he was 5'9", $175 soaking wet, but he had strength of Thor.
It's unbelievable, man. It's
Yeah.
really crazy. It's like, yeah, I mean, I never even thought about that with the drugs. I mean, you hear stories about addicts, but you just don't. I mean, Derek, what do you think it is? You think it's like it's like something with its nerves or
Yeah,
cells, or
I
maybe
think
it's
it
like
just overrides all of these inhibitors. Like we all have inhibitors in our system so that we don't blow up, right? It's like a central governor theory, if you've heard about that, where our brain says, nope, I'm not going to let you have that output. But I guess when you're on drugs, all bets are off, and you work to whatever your potential is, right? And even if they're snapping tendons and tearing muscles, they don't even feel it. So, and I know that from my research with electrical stimulation, electricity won't work on certain people on certain drugs because it takes up that receptor or something. Like it's very strange, but if they're on a certain drug, they will be immune to electrical shock to some degree. So
it
that's
actually
why
charges them up.
yeah, yeah. So it's a little messed up, and I would, yeah. I mean, Tank, if you're, I mean, do you find, like, I have a friend or an athlete that I coach, they're in the bail bonds industry with their family, and what's your policy around firearms? Because I assume being big, large, imposing doesn't require you to use a firearm or intimidate anybody like that.
I am a real big, first off, believe it or not, I don't really like guns. I've been doing this job for about 10 years, and I've not had to shoot anybody, not had to shoot at anybody. I believe when you approach people with a certain demeanor, they respond different. When you pull up to somebody, you put guns out in their face, they're going to react to that. So 9 out of 10 times when I come, yes, my demeanor helps. And then I'm not super aggressive, so I don't need to put a gun out. Like you get a lot of these guys, and the first thing they want to pull is a gun. But what happens if they don't lay down or they don't put their hands behind their back? Then what do you got to do? You got to holster your damn gun, and then you got to get physical. So I just do that part before even going to a gun, and it never even gets to that. Knock on wood.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I mean, you're going to need to use tranquilizer darts. It sounds like with these guys is the first thing that ended up like coming to mind. No, because you think about it. I mean, listen, this is incredibly dangerous, right? I mean, but this is your profession, and what frame of mind are these people in? I mean, first off, you say to yourself, if a bounty hunter or if a police officer, like, all right, put your hands up, right? That's my thought process. But most people aren't thinking that way. Have you had to go on long-term chases where this is like days, weeks, maybe months?
Cross border stuff?
Yeah. I think probably a couple years ago, man, I was looking for this guy for 6 months. Me and the task force, we had combined forces, and we were looking for this guy. And I got to the day before the judge was about to take the $75,000 from us, and I found him the next day. I mean, I was everywhere. It was stressful. It took about 6 months. We didn't have to travel out of state, but we were going into wooded areas. He was hiding out in the woods and trailers in the middle of nowhere. So, and he was a meth cook. So, I mean, he had a lot of connections and people helping him. So that was probably the longest chase I had, 6 months. Yeah.
And what?
Sorry, go,
I was wondering, I mean, obviously you've got some physical abilities. What sports did you play when you were younger? And did any of those things help for you getting into this business?
I played basketball, and my main sport was football. So you can imagine football helped me tremendously. It gave me that athletic spark, that fast twitch where I can jump at somebody real quick, grab them, and just, my stature. So football definitely played a role, especially when you're chasing somebody. We learned in college playing football pursuit drill, cutting off angles. That helped.
Were you like a linebacker or?
Yep, linebacker. Yep.
Okay.
And fullback. So I was used to all the contact.
And you were fast. So it almost so Derek's I always refer to Derek as probably I come from the strength and conditioning world, but Derek's like the guy who's known for running mechanics. You can get working with Frank about running mechanics for
Yeah,
bounty
we'll get him a
hunters.
tryout with the Chiefs.
Oh yeah,
You guys are beast. No problem, man. I'll put my vote
probably
in.
get a good 4.6, maybe still, maybe.
Oh, that's pretty
fast.
good.
What were you
Yeah.
running at? What were you running at your best?
My fastest speed in college, I ran a 4.47. That was my
Where'd you
top.
play?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was
Where'd you
probably
play?
about 30 pounds, about 25 pounds lighter though, you know.
And you play in college?
Yep, I played at Hampton University, started all 4 years. Well, not all my 3 years I started, so yeah.
And
Wow.
how'd you get into bounty hunting then?
Man, it's a long story. I mean, I have a nursing degree. So yeah, I went to school for nursing. I actually got the degree. Our situation happened in clinicals. I was like, I don't want to do this no more. I still got the degree. I wanted to do something where I could still be athletic, and kind of touch people. After I realized, the league wasn't happening, then I tried to become a U.S. Marshal. And at that time, there was a hiring freeze with the government. So I was doing more research, and bounty hunting just popped up. I'm like, what is this? It's kind of like being a marshal, but more freedom. So I tapped into it, took some classes, got licensed while I was still in college, and started doing it in college, and just fell in love with it. It was like my niche. I found the first case I got. So it was uphill from there.
Did you have any mentors around the business?
Yeah, up in Virginia, there was a guy named Matt Finers. I started with his company, so I kind of learned from him. And then after that, I just kind of just learned myself, just, on the job, just learning. I'm kind of a little, I'm kind of familiar with the street, so I know how to blend in. It was just natural for me. I had to learn the laws more, but as far as the street stuff, that came natural.
Now, do you have to work with police officers? Like, do you find that you have a friendly relationship with them when it comes down to law enforcement in the area? Are you having to contact local law enforcement to perhaps find someone that you're looking for, or are you on your own?
I'm pretty much on my own. They'll come out and assist. I don't too much. The only time I have issues with police officers is when they don't know my laws. Yeah, and a lot of the new guys, they don't know what bail law is. They don't understand we can do things that they cannot do. Then I have problems when I have a lot of pushback, and that's when I have issues. But for the most part, where I hunt at, majority of the time in Akron, all the cops know I am. They know what I can and cannot do. It's really smooth sailing. So unless I go to another city where they're not familiar with bondsmen, then it can become a problem. But other than that, we don't really work together.
I got to go back to the football thing. Was there a case where you actually were pursuing and you laid somebody out like in the old days when you were playing?
No, I didn't lay him out. It was one of those situations where he was almost to the touchdown and I grabbed him before he got to the touchdown.
You're
That's
like, yeah,
awesome.
I still got it. Thanks for filling us in on that. So we know you're big, we know you're strong, we know you got to be fast, but are you finding that you're paying more attention to things like nutrition now or recovery now that, you've been in this business how long?
10 years.
10 years now. I was about to guess that too. I was like, probably 10 years because I spoke to you 3 or 4 years ago. So it seemed like you had a lot of experience there. But are you finding that throughout that last decade, you got to evolve a little bit from a nutrition and recovery standpoint? Are there things that you're changing or you're doing now that you didn't do years ago?
Rest. I am now appreciating what rest is. And that is hard when you're young. You're just on the move. You're lifting every day. You're working every day. And when you start to get older, you realize it is important to get rest mentally, physically. You need it. So I've been forcing myself to rest. Not too much, but just enough where I can recover where I don't injure myself. Because, you get older, you're more prone to injury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got a great anecdote here. A friend of mine worked with soccer players in Europe, and there was one guy there who goal scorer, great athlete, but he would go out and party. He would be out with a different woman every city, and he never got injured. And so he went up to the guy and said, well, what are you doing? Like, you don't rest, you don't do this, you don't do anything properly. And the guy said, burglars don't pull hamstrings. And so I guess the whole point there was like, if you're just running for your life and whatever, you don't pull muscles. Have you ever chased anybody and they've pulled a hamstring and you got them, or pulled a muscle or anything like that?
Oh yeah, man. What? Oh my God. I had one guy just fall out. I got cramp, I can't breathe. He just fell out like completely. I quit. Like, nah, man.
You ever
They
just
get
start
tired now.
laughing? You ever just start laughing? Is it like someone you're chasing some guy down? You're like, you got no shot. And the guy just says something funny where you just start laughing. I mean, it's gotta
One
be like,
guy, he like the guy I was telling you about, he was running. He was kind of a bigger guy. He just literally passed out of air. And then when I got to him, he's like, I'm tired. He farted like really loud. And he just he was like at his all-time most vulnerable moment and just had nothing left in life.
oh my God. Oh my God. So you have it's not just you. I mean, I heard you say we a couple of times. So is it a team that you're working
Yeah,
with?
I got a team. Yep, I got a team. 2 to 3 other guys that come out with me. Yeah.
Fantastic. So obviously that's safer and it probably cuts down a lot of the workload, at least if you have a little bit more volume. If you have a lucky week where you have a lot of people kind of on foot. But are you what is the plan moving forward? I mean, you've got a good business going. Do you feel like you're going to be doing this 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Do you feel like you like the delegating portion of it a little bit? I mean, you've got a nice temperament. Like it's interesting because when you go on, and you got to check out Bounty Tank's Instagram, by the way. I'm going to give that a shout out. We'll connect everyone to your handle after this. But when you look at your handle, you know, you're this very demanding figure, but you got this very nice persona to you, which is something I remember picking up on when we were at Muscle and Fitness years ago. Do you feel like that is there a next step for you, or are you just keeping your foot on the gas, continue to do what you're doing right now?
I'm gonna keep my foot on the gas. My ultimate goal is to land a show on the network. So I'm working on that right now. I want to branch off into Hollywood. I want to get into movies, you know, but this is going to be the stepping stone to get there. So once I do that, I can branch off and start doing other things. Obviously, there's an expiration date on everything. I can't do this forever. So, you know, I got my foot on the gas right now. In these next couple of years, I plan on making some really big moves. And, you know, eventually I can retire. You know, I don't want to be, I love what I do, trust me, but like I said, it comes to a point where a certain age where you don't have that same juice, you know, and that's when you can get hurt.
It's an interesting question about, you know, getting into TV and all that. Do you have situations where you film what you're doing and you let people know, like, okay, this is a case we're doing, and are you allowed to do that, or where does that
Yeah,
stand?
I have an amazing show on YouTube. Amazing show. It's growing like crazy. It's real, it's authentic. People love it. Once you watch it, you're hooked.
What's it called?
It's called The Bounty Tank Show. It's on YouTube, and it's sizzling, man.
I'm going right now.
I'm subscribing.
You'll see everybody. It's real, it's raw, it's unfiltered. But it's exciting, man. And I'll take you through the process. It's not like, you know, they got fake channels with fake bounty hunting.
Yes.
It's always crazy action. It's none of that. This is real. It's kind of like First 48. I'll take you through the investigation part until we get to the rest. So, man, once you watch it, you hook. I haven't met one person that hasn't watched it and was like, I can't watch this. Everybody's like, why is this not on Netflix? Why is this not on a major network? That's how good it is. And I'm not too very cool. It's good.
So I just subscribed. You have 462,000 subscribers. Wow. I mean, that is a big number. And this clip I'm watching right now, you're in the gym getting after with a barbell curl. That's actually a pretty cool facility. Where are you at there? What you don't have to disclose the location, but what area?
I'm kind of like a gym gypsy. I work out anywhere there's some weights. You know, sometimes I get tired of going to the same gym, so I'll kind of go to a different gym. So I go to gyms in Cleveland and Akron and Canton. I just rotate in the area. Once I get bored, I go somewhere else for new scenery.
Huh.
Wow.
So sorry, D. Go.
No. I got to check this out. Is there anything in the last, say, in your 10-year career, from a technology point of view, where you're doing something different than when you started, where you're taking advantage of technology? Or, I mean, even social media? Obviously, you're on social media. When you're looking for somebody, is that the first thing you go to? Like, hey, let's see if they have an account and I can track them that way.
Social media has been the best and the worst thing. People can't stay off of social media. I catch 90% of people because of social media. I mean, it's just, they can't stay off. They gotta post. I just arrested a guy what was it? The day before yesterday. I just put the video out yesterday. And he's literally on Facebook poking fun because I tried to help the guy out first. I try to help people. He's poking fun about it on Facebook. The first thing they go to is social media, and it helps me. I don't. Thank you. Thanks, Facebook. Thanks, Instagram.
And then, you said most of them were addicts, so I guess it's the same thing, right?
They can't stay off. I don't know what it is, man. These guys, they can't stay off social media to help their life. They would just rather go to jail and get caught than stay off social media. So it's helped.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of that story. Not to jump in, but did you hear about the guys that base jumped off of the Freedom Towers when it was getting built?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, so it was these construction workers went to the top of the Freedom Towers. They were working the building, and they supposedly, and I heard this firsthand from the guy running. I ran into the guy running their community service, whatever it was. Like, they had to go for community service because they got caught, but they got away with it. So they jump off the Freedom Towers. They land in the middle of traffic. Thank God there was a red light, and they run off and they get away scot clean. One of the guys who jumped was supposedly so irate that everyone was talking about it, and he couldn't tell anyone, that finally he said, fuck it, I'm throwing the video up on YouTube. And threw it up on YouTube. And then the guy supposedly had to do, they said it was a record. It was like the max amount of hours that you can get done in, like, I'm getting it wrong, but a 4 or 6 week period of time. I'm like, how much community service does this guy do? They're like, the max, it was like 15 or 16 hours a day for like whatever it was, 40 straight days. Like, we've never seen a guy who could go in and actually be able to handle this and get it done. And he said the funniest part was when the worker was done and he was signing out, this gentleman that I know looked at him and goes, let me ask you a question. Was it worth it? And the guy looked back and he goes, I'd do it again.
It's kind of like, what's the fun of it if everybody don't see it, you know?
It just drove him nuts. Like, I can imagine this guy sitting there watching, like, someone loaded the video up and they weren't disclosing who it was, and he's watching millions of views, and they're all like, everyone's talking about it. The guy sitting there like this mental midget. He's like, I can't handle this. I have to let people know that it was me. And he just kind of blew his own horn. So listen, this sounds like a very, I feel bad in a way because I keep asking you, like, what's your favorite story? What'd you do? But in a way, this is part of, what you're doing. This could help business out, and this is part of launching on a network. I mean, the network's not going to bring you on if they don't think that you're a dynamic person. So, I mean, I know we're going to have a lot of people watching this episode, but could you give us another story that you might have, kind of, it's in the back of your head over the last 10 years? I mean, you got to have a lot of them, and I want to try and bring a little.
One of the stories that everybody loves is hilarious. So, all right,
let's go.
I was searching for a prostitute that I bonded out. She skipped court. So what I did was, she was on, it was sites back in the day called like Backpage. That's where they, sell their goods for financial purposes. So I made an ad acting like I was doing porn and I was looking for somebody to basically to come in and do the porn show with. So she, like I thought she would, she bid on it. She hit us up, and I basically act like I was setting up a porn shoot. You come do this. We'll pay you, it's all legit. I made up a production company, Beat It Out to Frame Productions. Like, I made a whole production company just for her. So she wound up biting. She came to the hotel. I had my videographer there, who's my actual videographer for the hunting. He just switched to pornography that day. So
did he have a mustache this time?
Man, dude, you gotta watch this video. Is hilarious. We got porn music going. She really thought it was going down. She like, okay, you guys are professional. Yeah, okay. And my name was Thanos. I changed my name to Thanos, so she thought she was calling me a guy named Thanos. So she gets there. I got the move right. I'm telling her what to do. I'm like, hey, we're gonna do this first scene. You just gotta bend over and put the handcuffs on. She's like, oh yeah, this is good. I like this. When do I get paid? We're like, just relax. We're gonna go through the first scene. So I wound up getting her in cuffs and getting her in the car. She's drunk, and getting her in the car. Then she realized what's going on, and she just flipped out like, what the fuck? I knew this was some BS. That was probably one of the funniest moments I've ever had. Like, you got to go watch the video. It's called A Hotel Setup, man. I mean, She
Where is it?
comes in, I
Is it
got my
on your
shirt
YouTube?
off. Yeah,
Is
it's
it
on
on your
YouTube.
YouTube?
It's on YouTube. It's called Hotel Setup. I'm literally, she comes in, I got my shirt off, I got baby oil on, I'm ready. Like, let's go. You know, she's like, okay, yeah, let's get this money. And she wound up in handcuffs. So yeah, that was
That
fun.
is unbelievable. Oh my God. So what did she, so she was just getting busted for prostitution, or was there something that led up to?
I had bonded her out for prostitution and she wound up missing court again. So I had to set her up that type of way. And sometimes I do a show where I speak to the defendants after I arrest them. She came on there, which it was hilarious. I mean, yeah, I have some characters, man.
So are you good at, and you might have learned this or you might have been taught, but are you good at profiling people and going like for that girl, you knew exactly how to set her up? Like, is this something that intuitively you have where you're like, okay, we're going after this guy. I know where he's going to go. I know what, how to set this up. And
yeah, I mean, like I said, because I'm kind of like, I call myself like a hybrid. I'm very connected with the street, so I know how people think. So immediately, I've been dealing with the same type of people for 10 years. I kind of know the thought process. I know where to set them up at, how to set them up. I just know what ticks and what gets them going. So yeah, it's become, I kind of know the situation before, as soon as it gets presented to me. I know what I need to do at that point. Most of the time it's setting guys up with females,
Yeah, that's an easy lure, right? So how has it evolved? How has it evolved for you? I mean, I know, looking at my business or Derek's business, we're always like, oh man, if we knew back then what we know now. Do you feel like that there were a couple cases that slipped through your fingers, or specific things that you did, or specific techniques? Obviously, don't give away all your secrets here, but were there things that you learned through experience?
Yeah. There's been a couple of times we were basically surrounding the guy, and it's happened a couple of times. I've learned from it, just kind of surrounding people when they're in vehicles and making sure they have no route to get out. I've messed up twice with that and let people get away because we didn't close in properly and take them down like we should. So that was probably one of the most valuable lessons I learned, which is basically when someone's in the car, we gotta surround them correctly so there's nowhere to run.
Okay, I gotta ask this, because I was with Don last month, and we were driving around in his big truck, and I felt invincible. What do you drive, and how important is that for your business?
I drive a bunch of different cars. I get rental cars.
Oh,
because everybody watches my videos, especially in the city where I work at, so everyone knows my car. So I literally have to switch up cars every time I'm hunting, because they know. I have one car that I designated for hunting, but so many people know it. I got to go get rental cars. Unless I know exactly where they are, I'll drive that car. But if I don't, I got to get a rental car.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Well, listen, man, we can't thank you enough for your time here, D. I mean, I think that was D. We're onto something here. The bounty hunting episode. We're gonna tell everyone.
Yeah, we gotta do a ride along at some point, Don. We
Come
gotta
on,
go.
man, it's crazy.
Visit
I'm
Frag.
I'm getting ready to do a sweepstakes here. People can win basically a ride along, get to come with me for a day. I'm gonna get ready to do that soon.
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Liability? Is there liability on that, or is it just pretty safe?
There's sign. Oh, you're gonna sign a waiver. You gotta sign a waiver now. Yeah, I'm not getting sued.
Yeah, Don, you're gonna have to help take down that 170-pound like super dude on the rocket fuel.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I have a tranquilizer dart or something to shoot him in the leg.
If something happened and I'm screaming, help! You gotta come help now. You gotta come help me, man.
I'm there for you, brother. I'm there. I got you. Listen, could you let everyone know where? So social handle, YouTube, just give us a reiteration on that. I mean, I think this is fantastic.
It's pretty simple. YouTube at Bounty Tank, Instagram Bounty Tank, Facebook Bounty Tank. You type in Bounty Tank, all my social media handles are gonna pop up. It's pretty consistent. YouTube, man, I'm telling you, the show is amazing. Just type in Bounty Tank and the show pops up, man. We got probably 4 seasons of episodes, man. So it's amazing.
So when you out in New York, sorry, Derek, go ahead, buddy.
I was just thinking, like, obviously you would love to do something a bit bigger with a network and or like a Netflix or something like that, and like a reality thing. But even there's some great stories in there that they could apply to like a fictional character. Has there been any discussion about those types of things as well? Those types of projects?
No. I'm good enough where I can do myself. I don't need someone to play me, because I can play me. Once you see the show, you're gonna see this guy has to play him.
I'm sorry to keep dragging this on, but Derek, who's playing him? You put like DJ playing him, probably Dwayne Johnson. I mean, I know The Rock.
Oh yeah, somebody large, obviously,
yeah,
right?
Man, you got to go someone athletic with that build. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is the Rock. You guys are probably around the same size. I think you're probably even a little bit more yoked than him. Don't tell him I said that.
Yeah,
but listen,
I would think, you know what? I would cast James Harrison, honestly.
You know what?
That'll actually be a kind of
yeah. I can see it.
Yeah,
I think you're right. James Harrison. How do you think you would the comparison in the weight room? He can hang with Harrison.
Oh yeah,
hell yeah, right?
He's a little bit more savage than I am, but yeah, he can hang. He could definitely play. He's a lot savager.
I'm still dragging this on right now. I apologize, but more things
are. Oh, it's good, man.
But like, so what in your prime? What were some of your big lifts? So we know you ran a sub 4.5, right? You ran under a 4.5.
Yeah.
On the 40, what were some of your big lifts? Bench squat there.
Let's see. 2 years ago, I was in Philadelphia for bench press competition. I got 565 on the bench.
Woo!
Squat. I think my heaviest squat was like 770. I think it was like 770 or 775, something like that. Yeah.
Damn. So those are big numbers, man. Those are like powerlifting numbers. That's pretty legit, right, Dave?
Can't do that today.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
It's 2 years ago. I thought you were gonna say like 10, 11 years ago. You were like, I haven't been lifting heavy. You're like, yeah, 2 years ago. Like that's a long time. You have that back in no time, man. That's fantastic. So how often are you ever up in New York?
Yeah. I was in New York like last month. It's periodically. It just depends on what I have going on. There'll have to be a specific reason for me to be out there, though. Yeah.
All right, man. Well,
it's only a 6-hour drive for me.
I got some 150s back here for you, so you can throw them around if you want to come up and train. My house is your house.
I would love that.
Equipment. Yeah. It'll be nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters in Don's neighborhood that could use some cleaning up around there. So, bring them down, Don. Clean up the neighborhood a bit.
I see a partnership, maybe. Yeah, we could do a little referral over here. This could be nice. No,
I'm good with that.
My ear is quiet. My ear is quiet. People are blowing stop signs here. It's like a big deal. So it is what it is.
Oh, yeah, I heard. Yeah, it's a lot of people getting hit by cars and stuff out there. Yeah,
stuff like that. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, people aren't paying attention. They're all on their cell phones. They gotta get their shit together. So, all right, man. Well, listen. Thanks so much for your time. This has been fantastic. We're gonna send a lot of traffic your way. People are gonna love to check you out. And again, thanks, man. And listen, have a happy holiday, all right, brother.
You too, man. Thank you, guys.
That's great. I'm gonna check out the YouTube channel right now.
I subscribe.
All right, check out. You're gonna be sitting there watching it all day. All right, catch you later, guys.
Take care, Frank.
Bye
bye.